Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. My name is Kajarmas, aka Toneshift, as per usual. Welcome to Jibber Jabber. Let's just talk for a while. Today, I am joined by, as usual, the author of Human Nature, Blank Page.
Heyo.
The author of the Change series, Tom117Z.
I'm here, I'm tired, and I'm still gonna snuck him.
You kind of cut out there a little bit, but I think we got the message. And lastly, a new addition to the Discord server and a patron at $10, Paladin57.
Hello.
Yes, he's quite an interesting one. So, how's everyone's day been?
Long.
Can't complain.
All right. So, we kind of just came into this not really knowing what specifically to talk about, except for me, I do actually have a topic.
That you did share with us.
Yeah, but I'll get to that in a minute. First things first, there was a new trailer for Season 8 that popped. Did all of you see that?
More school stuff.
Yeah, more stuff related to that
did.
school. Yay. That looks like a lot of fun.
A bunch of synopses have been revealed as well, including one where Celestia is apparently going to act in a play and she's terrible.
Oh, Celestia's a bad
that's
actress.
what I want to see.
Yeah, like
I thought she
seems
was
odd.
I thought she was fantastic because of how long she hides shit from people.
I suppose it's a different form of acting of holding a mask compared to literally pretending to be someone else.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Man, she's been around for 1,000 years. A change in pace wouldn't be bad.
You'd think she would have taken lessons in it at some point, but whatever.
Oh, she's been busy. It was kind of showing Royal Problems how busy her schedule is.
Ah, yeah, fair enough. And I also like the fact that in Royal Advice we got to see the fact that Celestia is also prone to panic attacks. she just, what if she runs into a manticore? That actually happened. Or if she gets pulled into Tartarus. She went to the gates of Tartarus.
Are we supposed to say anything? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Poor guards. All right, so for the topics I kind of had lined up, mostly just going to tell a couple stories and then we can just branch off into whatever the fuck else. Just improvise after these couple stories. I'd like to talk about medical conditions I've had in the past.
Oh boy.
Yay.
Why? Because somehow I get the weird shit.
Yay.
I will go over them in chronological order. The first one, I barely remember this because it was so long ago, but I had a fungus growing underneath one of my middle fingernails.
Lovely.
A fucking fungus, just this weird black growth, and it was kind of painful. It poked out from under the nail and kind of flopped around a bit. It was disgusting and painful, and I still don't know where the hell it came from.
I ate lunch 4 hours ago, and you're going to make it come right back up.
I just ate, so that's worse for me.
I mean, none of this makes me queasy at all, because, I mean, I don't know, I have a stomach of iron or something, I don't know.
We'll see what happened to you. So you've been through it all, but we're hearing it from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. So, I don't really have much else to add about the fungus. It was just kind of there, an oddity to just look at, a conversation starter more than anything. And occasionally it would flake a bit, and eventually I was able to pull the whole sucker out from underneath the nail, and it was dead. It was done. That was the end of it. Not the funniest of the bunch, but it illustrates the fact that I get the weird shit. Out of everyone in the family, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's ever woken up in the morning and was successfully able to run the earpieces of my glasses from one side of the wall of my nose to the other because there was a hole in my septum.
Oh.
Ever a septum?
No. Wrong spelling. So for those of you who don't know, the septum, I believe, is the wall that separates the nostrils of your nose. And I had a hole in that condition called a perforated septum. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Don't quote me on that. Correct me if you do. And as it is, there was actually severe risk of my face imploding because of that, because the structure of my face was compromised because of a hole in one of the structural supports being, the nostrils, the nostril wall, the septum. So that was bad, and so we had to go through a bunch of steps to get it fixed. But interestingly enough, For one thing, the way I discovered it, I think, is kind of entertaining. Like I said, I discovered that for a while I thought something was wrong with my nose because of persistent nosebleeds, especially in the shower where it was like a fucking waterfall. But oddly enough, I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like, okay, another nosebleed, here we go. But as it is, it was actually a combination of nasal spray used to help keep allergies under control and the fact that I pick my nose. I will openly admit to that. I am not ashamed.
I admit that I do it too.
I try not to do it in public, not out of shame, but just because I don't want people giving me shit over it.
Yeah, I usually go behind a door and do it.
This conversation is going to wonderful places already.
Is it wonderful?
We're 6 minutes in and shit's already getting gross. New record.
I think you're aiming to break it with this.
For a while. There you go.
Anyways, but the funny part is how people reacted when they realized that I had a hole in my nose. Because once I took the earpieces of my glasses and discovered that, oh yeah, I can go in one nostril and touch the outer wall of the other with it, because there's a hole in there for it to just pass through, I informed my grandmother who was visiting at the time, and after she went home and Mom came back from work, Grandma called Mom and said, Brian has a hole in his nose, you should check that out. And Mom said, no, he doesn't have a hole in his nose, I'll prove it. She turned off the phone, grabbed a little LED flashlight, dragged me into the bathroom, shined it up my nose, looked up, and then probably proceeded to drop the flashlight and run away going, and then I hear this from the other room. Beep, 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 beep. You're right, he has a hole in his nose! Like 5 minutes later, after screaming about it for a bit, Mom comes back, shines a flashlight up my nose again, and goes, and I'm just sitting there like, this is fantastic. Who knew a risk to my health would be so entertaining?
To be fair, I think it was entertaining to you and more disturbing to everyone else.
Oh yeah, unquestionably. But I still found it hilarious, and I kind of wished there was a way we could save the structure of my face without getting rid of the hole in my nose, because it's a great conversation starter, first off. And it's a great way to weed out the people who I actually want to know, because if you're too weak-willed to be able to... If you're so weak-willed that you're not able to look at a hole in someone's nose, then I don't necessarily want to know you in person super much. Because that indicates...
I hope your mother isn't listening to this. I mean...
That's family. That's different. But it was a great conversation starter, and showing it to people was hilarious because they'd freak the fuck out.
Yeah, probably a good way to...
Has anyone ever told you that you're a bit of a troll?
Thank you for noticing. Glad someone acknowledged it.
Or,
what did
as
my...
I like to call it, the utter, etc. You know the rest.
Yes. Did no one notice the April Fool's video I posted a few years back about forgiveness pending?
Yeah.
No, because I didn't know you a few years back.
That's an indication of how big of a troll I am. Anyways, now, of course, it eventually stopped being fun when I actually went in to get it taken care of. There's the patch of muscle tissue on a human scalp that is mostly superfluous. And some of that was actually cut out of my head via surgery and used to replace the missing skin and tissue in my nose.
And I'm cringing.
Yeah, so I've basically got a bit of my scalp in my face. Great.
It's like I can taste the chimichanga coming back up.
What makes this story more entertaining after that, though,
Round 2.
is that it was kind of like karma. Because the aftermath of the surgery, I was fucking miserable, and everyone else got to laugh at my poor condition. Because, all I know is that I was there, I was being wheeled out to the operating room for the surgery, and I'm like, okay, gonna do this thing, you're gonna feel kind of weak, and it's like, it hit me, it's like, no, I feel fine. Next thing I know, I'm waking up, and it's been a few hours. and I'm loopy as hell. I didn't really know this I didn't really realize at the time, but I was loopy as fuck. Mom and Dad are sitting over there talking to the nurse who's, making sure I'm all right, and they realize I've woken up. Mom's like, you doing okay? Yep. And for some reason, I felt good enough to say this. When we go home, can we take a walk? The thing is like my entire head, the entire goddamn thing was wrapped up in bandages, and my nose had gigantic tissue stuffed up in it because it was still bleeding. And and just and it was kind of horrible, actually. I felt like shit once the painkillers wore off. And it was one of those things where, like, I don't remember much of this very clearly. Again, kind of loopy. I was still high on the painkillers and shit. And they drove me to the hotel that we were staying at, because this was in, like, a town a little ways away. We were staying the night. And on the way over, when we finally parked and were going inside, they'd reserved the rooms in advance and had warned the people behind the counter that they were going to bring someone fresh off of surgery in, and that might look like shit. I don't think they were prepared for just how much shit I looked. Because I don't really remember this. I wasn't paying attention. I just wanted to go find a bed and lie down on my left side, because my right side is where they cut the piece of my head off. And apparently, they all just got out of my way. It's like, oh, just get out of his way, just get out of his way, just get out of his way. Because my whole head, the entire thing, with the exception of my mouth, nostrils, and eyes, was completely encased in bandages. Like, I looked like I was on the verge of dying, apparently. And I was moving similar, apparently, because I was, like, sluggish and wobbly and not at all, and moaning in discomfort. It was not great.
Oh, zombie.
Yeah.
Mummy.
But that's kind of the karma thing here is I was in a lot of pain for the rest of the day. And
One question, Brian, have you set your Skype to busy?
I have not, and I also forgot to set the Jibber Jabber thing so that more people can't join in without you.
Because while we're doing this, I've been continuing to read In Pursuit, and I spotted a mistake. I was just going to send it to you.
Okay. Anyways, so
especially when you're life this.
Yeah, I'm already aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was interesting. It was interesting karma. Everyone was disgusted by the hole in my nose, and then it finally gets fixed, and I'm in a lot of pain. Karma. Perfect. And next up is the objectively more disgusting one.
Oh boy, it gets better and better.
They
Just
already.
the butt sis, if not, if it's someone just gonna.
If it is, I'm gonna put the headset down for a bit.
I say something.
Heard it before.
I'll try to spare the more gruesome details.
Yep, it's coming off right now.
But yes, at one point I got what is called a pilot cyst. And this one isn't quite as entertaining, you might say, for me, because I mean it was this one's actually not really that funny at all, except in hindsight, because I can make the joke of I had two assholes, which I literally did for a while after the surgery. But for one thing, an interesting thing, a kind of a frightening thing happened with it at one point, where after we discovered I had the cyst and gone to get it looked at by a doctor, and they confirmed, oh yeah, that's a cyst, have some really fucking big antibiotics, because apparently it was infected and it could have actually become fatal. At one point, in the middle of the night, I went to the bathroom to use the bathroom, and apparently the cyst ruptured a little bit. Not a lot.
Just enough.
Just a little bit. All I know is that at where it was, which is at the top of the gluteal cleft, I felt a little stinging. Being the disgusting person I am, I reached back there to touch it. When I brought my hand back, there was blood on my hand.
Touch it.
I heard that, Blank.
Really?
Yes.
I got my headset like in my arms away from me. I can just hear your voice, and I only made out. And then I touched it, and I just muttered under my breath.
Anyways, so there was now blood on my hand, and I think I actually went into shock, is the worrying part about that one. Because all at once, my sense of balance stopped working. My vision blurred up and became smothered by floaters to the point that I couldn't see unless you were shining like an LED right in my eye. And as I mentioned, I had lost my sense of balance, and my hearing was muffled, so I think I went into a lesser variety of shock. So naturally, my response was to waddle over to the bedroom my grandma was sleeping and knock and say, "Hey, I'm sucking. Help me."
You're sucking, eh?
I paraphrase. What I actually said is
but
probably
what
more
is
along with the. I was sucking at life. Anyway, so So aside from, grossing people out with the pictures of it post-surgery and the comment that I can make that I've officially had 2 assholes at one point, and the fact that I still have the scar from the surgery, it wasn't really that fun, especially because after the surgery, I couldn't sit for months. I could not actually sit on my butt, and I had to go to the hospital pretty much daily for wound treatment for months. None of it was fun. And it calloused my knees because I was still recording really frequently at the time. I was still doing memory pending back then. And it was... I had to be on my knees when I recorded. I couldn't sit, so my knees were kill for a while. But yeah, so that is the combined set of stories of the medical conditions I have had in the past that I think are worth noting.
Right.
Well, this died.
I'll be.
No, I was trying to do crickets.
I don't know.
That did not sound like crickets.
Anyways.
So apparently, in Captain America: Winter Soldier, whenever Captain America was writing down on his little list of things to catch up on, it's a different list depending on the country.
Really?
Yeah, like on the United States, it's got, well, pretty much the same thing as the UK, but in the UK they have the Beatles, where the United States has Steve Jobs, and is that Pisco? And UK is Thai food, and France is just different altogether. Yeah, like France 98, Louis de Funes. I can't pronounce that word because that is very clearly French. Daft Punk. Is Daft Punk French?
I don't know. I don't really
Well,
know. I don't really know a whole lot about the French.
Neither do I. I've never been to France.
They have baguettes.
Baguettes. Oh, choke on a baguette of dicks. Obligatory Team 4-star quote of the day accomplished.
I just shook my head.
I'm sitting here in blissful ignorance because I don't know what that is.
Team 4-star?
I don't think I do.
DBZ Abridged, Helsing Ultimate Abridged, Team 4-star, the guys who make those.
Fair enough.
I showed you
I've
all.
heard
I
them.
showed you all of Helsing Abridged over the course of 2 nights once. Remember?
Yeah, you sure did. And it's weird because the moment after that, I saw references to it everywhere.
It is one of the most prolific things on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Want to see something cool?
I haven't seen the rap.
Alexander Anderson. I don't generally like rap. It bugs me.
Well, you're starting to sing a few lines.
Only the part that didn't make me cringe.
I love the accents in it.
Yeah. What's in the box? Who gets the box? How much is what's in the box worth? Storage Wars. Yeah. Those guys are amazing, but we're not here to obligatorily quote them, now are we? We're here to talk about just about any old random shit.
Yes. Shit.
Shit!
Okay, not that. Let's back up.
Does anyone else have funny stories about medical conditions, or do we need to jump to something else?
Let's please jump to something else.
I have a funny story of when I got my wisdom taken out.
That's fine.
That'll work. Okay. Hit us.
Well, procedure. They put you to sleep. They take it out. After I woke up, I tried to walk out. and to me, I thought I was fine, but from everybody else's perspective, I was basically leaning towards the wall. They had to wheel me out in the end.
Did you say anything crazy or insane?
Yeah, I said I was fine.
I was more meaning like profoundly like that, but okay. You know, that reminds me of other things. One time, my grandma came down with pneumonia. And it was kind of abrupt, and so we took her to the hospital. It was the middle of the night when this happened. And I don't really know all of what happened while she was back there being treated, but more than once, she just came walking out without someone guiding her. She was just walking along, looking like, ah. And so Mom would have to walk up. Mom's something, CNA, I think. Certified nursing assistant, yeah. And so, you know, she just was like, no, Mom, you gotta go back in there. Go on, go. And then at one point, and I wasn't there for this part, but apparently at one point, they told Grandma, okay, we're gonna go ahead and give you an IV. Her immediate response, but I don't want an IV. And she just kept walking out without telling any of the doctors what she was doing. She just kept leaving. My grandma is one of the weirdest people I know. And also kind of profound in a lot of ways. Like, I once tried to, like, at one point, we tried to do a Let's Play of her playing Amnesia, and she volunteered for this, mind you.
Wow.
Amnesia the Dark Descent. Grandma volunteered for it. She wasn't scared of it because she didn't have the gamer condition, so to speak, where, like, she actually understands most of the prompts a video game gives. And I was there with her trying to make sure she understood the controls, which she didn't, sadly.
Yeah.
Please tell me she was staying in a corner walking in circles for a good bit.
Well, I mean, she had a hard time figuring out how to walk for a good long while. And then she was having a hard time figuring out how the physics in the game work because I said it's all based off of physics. And she said, well, I mean, I took physics in college. I didn't pass, but that's not how it works. Like, not what I mean. Not what I mean. like in Amnesia, when you go to open a door, it's based off of physics. The door actually sits on hinges. And you move it by using the mouse. What Grandma wound up doing is she activated it with the mouse, moved the mouse, and then just kind of started moving it in the wrong directions, and the door just kind of started doing this. Just wobbling back and forth a few inches.
Sounds like a rocking chair.
Yeah, yeah, it did. And then I'm just sitting there watching her do this like, what are you doing?
Closing it harder.
I'm guessing she didn't survive the first meeting with the grunt.
Oh, she never even got to the grunt. She never got to any of the monsters. I think as
So
far
you
as...
get past the first door.
No, she did get past the first door. I think we made it to the lab where you're supposed to mix up the explosive bucket, but I don't think we got past that. Or not the explosive bucket, the chemical jar. She got to the point with the chemical jar, but I don't think we got past that point. Because scheduling became an issue, and making sure she actually understood what the fuck she was doing was a pain for me. It was hilarious and fun to play the video files back, but it was difficult. It was hard. But it was fun, it was great, and you can really get a feel for what she's like, because at more than one point she questioned the game's stuff in ways that, in hindsight, make perfect sense, and why didn't I think of that? For instance, chandelier on the roof in the first room. When you walk up to the big doors, the chandelier's lit over it, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Grandma's response was to stand in the corner, look up at the chandelier and say, okay, there's a chandelier. It's lit. That means someone had to have come through and lit it recently. When they come back to light it again, what if I jump them and find out what's going on here? And I'm over here like, yeah, why is that lit? Everyone's dead. That should have gone out. But no.
The grunts, really. I think they still kind of take care of the
magic.
mansion.
I mean the green and blue flames are magic, yeah, but this is just a regular old chandelier.
I'm pretty sure the grunts still kind of maintain the mansion.
I'm pretty sure the grunts were just animated for the sole purpose of finding Daniel and stopping him from doing shit.
They're not animated. They're people that have been brutally, just grotesquely changed.
I mean, as I understand it, they are essentially undead and ageless. I mean, it's why they don't age. They're reanimated by magic after being tortured and killed. I mean, as far as I understand it, anyway.
And I'm just sitting here realizing how very little I know of this game.
I've never played
all the world.
You guys need to go fix that. It's probably the best.
The main
it's one of the best.
Antagonist is an alien from another dimension.
Don't spoil it, man. Don't spoil it, man.
Game's like freaking over a decade old.
That's no excuse. Don't spoil it for them. It's great.
Like,
Whoa, hold up. You're complaining about spoiling a video game.
It's like trying to say Jesus got crucified.
Got a
Spoilers.
spoiler tag now.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, Jesus dies. Spoilers! Oh yeah, George Washington dies at the end of his life. Spoilers!
No, he doesn't. He still lives on.
No, he doesn't.
Let me have my dream.
Nope.
Yes, he lives
Trump
on
somehow
the dream.
became president. Spoilers.
He actually existed. Spoilers! Literally anything is not a spoiler. Oh my god, it reminds me of when the movie had just hit theaters. And Tom, in a chapter Soaring on Little Wings, made a reference to the movie. Very lightweight reference, no actual spoilers in it. Just stuff you would already know.
I believe in that reference, Little Wing made a mention that Rainbow Dash was involved in the whole Stone King's invasion, one of the key figures.
Yeah. And some dipshit loudly declared, "Wow, thanks for spoiling the movie for those of us who haven't seen it, asshole." It's like, that's shit you would already know if you've seen the advertising material.
Stone King attacks Equestria. Rainbow's the main character. Blatant spoilers.
Yeah, I'm the guy who usually spoils it.
Like that's not a spoiler. The advertising and promotional materials covered all of that extensively already.
Also, it's the basic synopsis. And what's the spoiler of it? The fact that Storm King attacks Equestria, he's the damn main antagonist, of course he will.
Yeah.
Or the fact that Rainbow Dash is the main character.
Which he was?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm
Rainbow
I
Dash.
haven't
Who's
seen it.
Rainbow Dash? I have no idea who this character is.
She wasn't the main character, but she was among the main cast, as per the usual.
That's what I meant. Like, one of the main characters.
Tanner, have you seen the movie yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god. You fucking... Have you watched the rest of Season 7 yet?
I'm going to choose to keep my mouth shut right now.
You fuck!
I just haven't gone around to it. I don't know, man.
We've got less than 30 days until the next season starts. Less than a month.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know why you haven't gotten fully caught up yet. Is because you're worried it might break your fanfic.
What? No.
Yeah, that's it.
I haven't seen all of
I
them.
know it's gonna.
Have you
I
at
don't
least
care.
watched the latest Equestria Girls yet?
He hasn't
Forgotten
watched.
Friendship.
He's only seen the
First
first. He's only seen the first one, and that's because I made him.
Yeah, he all but roped me down and made me watch it.
I'm very sad you haven't seen the latest one. Well, at least a quarter of it takes place in Equestria, actually.
Yeah. Well,
Good times.
I remember watching the episode where Scootaloo meets Rainbow Dash's parents, and during that episode, I laughed so hard, stopped, and just didn't watch it for the rest of the day until tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have seen that one.
No
I don't
pony's a
remember
bigger
when I
fan
like-
of our Rainbow Dash than us!
That episode is one of the big inspirations behind Soaring of Little Wings.
Shoot. Now I gotta like.
You always wear
find out
that
what I'm
shirt?
about.
Well, actually, it's laundry day, but pretty great, right? I installed the sound effects myself. Pretty great, right?
I wish I had him for a parent.
I feel Rainbow's pain when they turn up at the freaking training grounds.
They created turbulence with their cheering.
They set off fireworks in the middle of a freaking aerial show.
They almost hit Rainbow Dash. They almost shot Rainbow Dash with a firework that exploded with her head shape and colors. I mean, if you've got to go out with a bang, go out with a bang that also looks like you. People will remember it more.
Partakes in the.
How did they not get arrested for this?
Because one, the question, they're forgiving as fuck, and two, because they're Rainbow Dash's parents.
I would, if I was in that, if I was there, I'd probably be laughing behind the bleachers
charges.
long and loudly.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking through the list right now. I think I found out where I kind of stopped. It was daring done. I got to like the last 5 minutes of it, and my computer just shut down, and I just never kind of got back around to finishing it, and I never watched the next one after that.
Well, we know
And
what
ever
you're
since then, it was
doing.
a downward slope.
Well, we know what you're doing as soon as we're done with this episode of Jibber Jabber.
Oh wait, no, I think I've seen this. Once Upon a Zeppelin. Yeah, I've seen that one. I just haven't seen Marks and Recreation. I don't think I've seen. I've seen Campfire Tales. That's one with all the.
I've
fun
been
stuff.
watching them out of order.
Honestly, I don't know.
Do you have
Because
Netflix?
one,
I'm going through
one
the
of Zeppelin is
like
after Marks and Recreation.
yeah, like I went down because I recognized one title, and I went back up to see if I missed any in between. Uncommon Bond? No, I haven't seen that
Uncommon
one.
Bond is the one that fuels the Sunburst Starlight ship and confirms that Sunburst hates being without his cloak. He hates being naked. Unlike every other equestrian ever.
Ooh,
I'm
I like
also
it.
sad that it didn't spawn 1,000,001 Twilight Sunburst ship effects, even though it gave every opportunity to.
Giving homemade pies to
I think
Rambo.
because it was
Oh,
more
yeah, I've seen
focused on
Secrets and
Starlight
Puffs.
and Sunburst.
So yeah,
kinda
after Secret and
reinforced
Puffs,
that,
I haven't
but-
seen anything else.
But I mean, like, there were so many clips where looking at like people will look at that and be like, okay, let's make ship fix out of these two. same with freaking Trixie and Sunburst and fucking Maud and Sunburst. There were so many clips where poor Starlight.
Then Shadowplay, the one where I realized Starswell the Bid is just a massive dickhead.
So I'm only behind 3 episodes. Stop jumping down my throat.
Well, we know what you're doing as soon as we're done here, don't we? Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'm going to be sure I get some food back in me to make up for all the stuff I lost while you're talking about medical problems.
I did not like Starswell. He just seemed very arrogant and holier than thou.
To be fair, it makes sense, but so long as virgin ears are present, we should refrain from continuing that discussion.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
found it weird that they.
Go ahead. I'm fine.
I found it weird that they basically, hey, Star Swirl is still alive, Dilly.
Yeah, he's around now.
Yeah.
And yet completely clueless as to modern day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just like
Yeah.
Luna.
The Ghastly Caverns became Ghastly Gorge after 1,000 years of erosion. Although, actually, I have a theory. We know that over the course of the show, Hollow Shades has been mentioned several times. These are just offhand. At one point, like during Apple Family Reunion, it was mentioned that some members of the Amel family lived in Hollow Shades when Applejack was rattling off ponies who lived where and who to invite. But then when we see Hollow Shades, finally, in Shadowplay, the place is goddamn abandoned. I actually have a theory about that.
Probably because... it's probably because a giant shadow creature attacked it.
Yeah, I'm
I
willing
don't
to,
think he'd stay there. I think the property prices would, just plunge.
yeah, I'm willing to bet that the place is probably actively inhabited, but once the Pony of Shadows popped up and started doing shit, he went there because that's where the Well of Shade is, and drove out the inhabitants. Which was mildly disgruntling. I wanted to see bat ponies, damn it! We've seen them all of 2 times in this goddamn show.
Yes.
And you can't get enough of them.
It hasn't been mentioned that Thestrals live in Hollow Shades?
It hasn't, but it's such a common fan theory that it might as well be canon until otherwise stated, and I want them to say that it is canon. I want bat ponies to live somewhere. I want to actually explore bat ponies, damn it. They're so cute.
Yes, we want bat ponies.
From what I've seen
They
of the
go
synopsis
back.
for season 8, we're not going to get an episode, though if we actually see them among the school, who knows. Though at least in the last season, I'd like to have at least one episode focusing on them, because we've seen them in the background, but we've never explored them at all.
Yeah, like we've seen them as part of Luna's personal chariot pullers. And we've seen them as Nightmare Moon's personal guard in an alternate timeline.
Plus, Rainbow kind of dressed up as one.
Which, from what I've heard from, few theorists, they say that's an illusion spell with the, chariot ones.
At least that one. It's been confirmed by word of God that the 2 Thestrals from Lunar Eclipse are their own, legitimately bad ponies.
Yeah.
I think one of them was called Erebos or something, but yeah.
I really just want the bat ponies to actually be explored. Even if we only get 1 episode dedicated to it, I want to freaking explore them, because bat ponies have the capacity to be either the most intimidating, or the cutest variety of pony?
Or both.
If you ask especially daily, the cutest.
Oh yeah, I mean it depends really on the color scheme and what they're doing. Like if you've got like a pink bat pony with purple wings and a really red mane and it's like nomming on an apple or something on its back while rolling around, yeah, that's fucking adorable. But then you get Moonrise Drifter and it's fucking terrifying.
And you have Vladimir, and he's just a dude.
He's just a dude. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, Drifter is absolutely terrifying. Paladin, do you know who the hell we're talking about?
Who are we talking about?
The story that he wrote.
A pony named Moonrise Drifter in a story I wrote. Didn't do a reading of it.
No, I don't think I got to that yet.
Yeah, you got adorable ponies. You got Moonrise Drifter, who's not technically a Thestral, but whatever, and then you got Vladimir, who's kind of just a cool dude, though he's got a sweet freaking wing actuator.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mild spoiler warning, because I'm going to start talking about the Fiends trilogy. If none of you have read it and you want to, well, I mean, go fucking do that. If you have read it, go ahead, stick around, enjoy the chitter-chatter. I'm just going to give the basic summary to Paladin here, because he seems to be oblivious.
Like always.
Yeah. I don't know, I barely know you yet.
You
just got here. Anyways, so the Fiends trilogy is a series of 3 stories that I'm working on. The first 2 are done. The third one is still a work in progress, and I poke at it occasionally while working on little choices. The basic premise that I can get into without spoiling a lot of the stuff is that it's sort of an action-adventure series with heavy dark and horror elements. And one of the main characters is a hybrid, basically. There are creatures called Fiends, monstrous abominations artificially created by a monstrous a monstrous creature known as a Luminous Horizon. I can't get into his backstory without spoilers. And he creates these things called the Fiends, and they are monsters through and through. Their whole thing is they kill and eat ponies. Usually while they're still alive. They just start eating them even while they're kicking and screaming.
That's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. And they're fast and they're strong and have animalistic instincts, and some of them are outright immune to magic. It just slips right off them like water off a duck's back. That variety started to be called Duck by Drifter. Now, Drifter is half pony, half fiend. And the reason behind that is complex, and I can't get into it without spoilers. But she resembles a bat pony with a few notable exceptions. First of all, her ears are somewhat different, a bit more wild-looking. And she has claws that can pop out of all 4 of her hooves. She's
Wolverine pony.
Basically. She's significantly faster and stronger than typical Thestrals or ponies in most situations. And she is strictly carnivorous. She cannot eat plants. Like if you give her some hay fries, she'll take a bite and then she'll throw up. She cannot ingest normal pony food. She can only eat meat. Which was kind of a weird thing for her growing up, because she grew up in Canterlot.
Yeesh.
And so she got a lot of shit for, how different she was from everyone else when she was still attending public school. Left out a lot because ponies were either afraid of her or hated her. Partly due to jealousy because of how badass she was, like significantly stronger and faster than all of her contemporaries and her peers, and strictly a carnivore. Even other bat ponies are more omnivorous in the setting, in that particular fanfic. Like, they can eat meat, but generally they'll stick to not for the sake of their neighbors. Drifter just has to eat meat. Her adoptive parents had to actually import meat from Griffinstone for her to eat.
I thought they'd get out of fishing pool and go fishing.
I mean, maybe. But as it stands. And as it is, Drifter is over 1,000 years old as well. Part of the benefits of being half fiend is that she carries a trait unanimous among the fiends, which is agelessness, something that the Master of the Fiends Horizon imposed upon himself a long time ago. So Drifter doesn't age past where she currently is. So she's been around for 1,000-ish years. And she actively hunts and kills fiends wherever she can find them, and eats them pretty much exclusively. And fiends are common enough, especially around the edges of Equestria at the start of the story, that she is in no risk of running out of food. She eats fiends pretty much exclusively. And she is rather badass, I like to think. But I also do my best to make sure that she's not like a Mary Sue. Like, for instance, she's not like super edgy or closed off or reclusive. She actually has a sense of humor. She's snarky, sarcastic, but also friendly and really good with kids. And she's also kind of a playful sort in a lot of ways. This especially became clear in stories 2 and 3. And it's a fun series, and I like writing it, and it's also what earned me the moniker of Utta Bastard from Tom. Because of what I did to spoilers. I did horrible things to some of the characters, and I have been labeled a UX-18 class bastard.
Yes, I think you mentioned a few of them in the past Jibber Jabbers, so.
Yeah. UX-18, by the way, stands for utter times 18. So utter.
You get the point.
Yes,
Utter
I
bastard. 18 utters. This cow has a lot of goddamn utters.
Anyway, on the
Different spelling?
away from the most depressing of the bad ponies, have any of you ever read the fic, The Adventures of Batsy McFluffentuft the Magnificent?
What? I have
No,
never
I have
even
not.
heard of that, but it sounds magnificent.
I haven't even heard of that either.
What was it called again?
It's the story of a Lunar Guard Thestral Mare who Luna has placed on super probation.
Super probation.
Super probation. That's a thing.
It is now.
Luna made it a thing.
Wait.
It wasn't a thing before, but it is now.
That's glorious.
Your closest
No.
fic that I've.
The original fic never got past 2 chapters, though it became so popular so quickly that several other people made fics about it. There's The Great, the Powerful, the Magnificent, Batsy Fluffentuft, and Batsy Fluffentuft the Magnificent's Grand Shower Quest, and Batsy Fluffentuft's Short Screwy Adventure, and finally Batsy Fluffled. Just tongue was saying this over and over again. Batsy Words.
Whoa!
Batsy Fluffentuft the Magnificent becomes an alicorn.
Oh.
Of course, Alicorn.
And with the only chapter title being, maybe if I save Equestria, I can get out of super probation.
What
Or
is super
she
probation?
doesn't.
What is super probation anyway? Like, what
It's like
what does that
probation.
mean?
But super.
That's not helpful, Blank.
Hey, anyway, I can help, man.
Well, then help.
Basically, Luna asking Batsy to stay as far the fuck away as possible.
I was gonna say a type of house
He's a
arrest.
walking disaster,
Oh,
and yet it's completely super adorable.
so she's like Derpy then.
She's like
Adorable, but
Derpy.
breaks everything she touches. Is that about right?
Pretty much.
Oh boy,
Pretty much.
lovely.
The description of the original story. Batsy Fluffentuft, not the most respected of the Lunar Guards, and in fact on super probation from Princess Luna herself, managed to escape into the town of Canterlot and have herself an adventure.
Super probation.
Dun dun
Super.
dun.
I'm sorry, I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around this.
You're thinking too hard into it, man.
Clearly.
Yes, I'm not even thinking at all.
Hey, there you go.
Batsy Fluffentuft, the Magnificent, becomes an alicorn. Tyrek has escaped. The plan to send Discord after him has failed in every way possible. Now the princesses are left waiting for Tyrek's invasion of their castle. They can already feel the ground shaking as the massive centaur approaches. With no other options, they must give their magic to somebody capable of hiding it away from Tyrek. Unfortunately, the only guard close enough is on probation. Like, super probation. It's going to end poorly.
Twilight tries to prank Celestia. This is a bad idea.
Here's
Yes.
the link to the story and to the original story, and the original story has the links to all the other stories. I'll put it in readers.
Oh man, I'm gonna read these so hard at some point.
It'd be more appropriate to put it in general fan fiction discussion because the readers chat is actually for people like me who do fan fiction readings, but okay.
Fair enough.
Anyways, that's not something the YouTube audience can see, so...
Oh, I was misspelling it the whole time.
Now what?
Well, we got 15 minutes.
Also, the Great, the Powerful, and the Magnificent is the one where Batsy meets Trixie. So you can imagine how that goes.
Trixie wants blowjobs. What? No, why did I say that? Fuck! Why did I say that? Why?
Because you're you.
I just said something random. Why was that it?
Why was that the first word on your mind?
I don't know!
Do we need to have a talk? We need to sit you down somewhere.
I wish I
No!
had popcorn right about now.
Fuck! I mean, this won't be going in the blooper reels, thank God. Those are their own
No, it's
self-contained
gonna be here anyways, though. You can't edit it out.
No, but
It's here forever. The internet's going to see it all.
No, but I can refrain from posting this.
But you won't. We all know you won't.
Yes,
Yeah, you're right.
especially-
Last chapter was the last episode was titled Luna's Bonus. You're not going to.
No, the last episode was entitled Jesus' Foreskin.
Same fucking difference.
God. Oh my God. We still need to write that Idiocyverse entry with Flufflepuff.
I know, but would you be if we have to do that? Would you be available Wednesday? Because that would be the earliest time. Because I got a full day tomorrow, even though I'm thinking of skipping the morning lectures because I'm fucking knackered. And then Tuesday is also a full day.
Unless it gets canceled, probably not, because I have D&D on Wednesdays.
Oh,
Ah, well.
well, Thursday wouldn't be good because I'm out with friends.
Yeah.
And Friday I'm writing Soaring on Little Wings. Saturday I'm writing freaking Fallout again, and then Sunday other things happen. Busy faceplant.
Yeah, Sunday we're doing this shit.
Yes.
and maybe I might show up that time too.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can make it, by all means. There's no upper limit on how many people can join, just so long as you join before we start. Because I will not have people jumping in the middle of a recording of Jibber Jabber. That's just a nightmare for me to work around.
Yeah, well, I work
Luckily no one
next Sunday,
can join
so
because it's
we'll see how I'm
cool.
feeling. So,
Nope, too late. You already made a commitment. You have to follow up with it now. You're stuck here with us. Forever.
all right, I'm cool.
I like how amicable he is to that.
Yeah, no resistance whatsoever.
Because it's a fun group to be in.
I mean, I hope we've made a good
Don't
first
worry, we'll
impression.
change your mind soon enough.
I
Don't
hope I
you
found
worry
a
at
good
all.
impression.
So, if we're
come
seeking
on.
if we're seeking a new topic now that we've done with Batsy and her adventures, does anyone want to hear about my roller coaster of a day and why I'm so fucking knackered?
You know what?
Sure,
Sure,
why
we've
not?
got 10 minutes left.
Well, today was LARPcon because I do LARPing and that kind of stuff with friends and whatnot in university that I met. There was a whole con about it a few hours drive away that was going on today. We've been looking forward to it for a couple of months now. We were all going. And to get there on time, because it started at 11 and it's quite a long drive, we were going to meet in the university's reception around 7:30. So I had to set my alarm for 7 o'clock to get up. Going to bed last night, I didn't get sleep until like 4 in the fucking morning, so I had very little sleep.
Oh.
So I woke up like a freaking zombie, but I immediately, got everything ready and was down there by 15:15. We were waiting there 15 minutes, 15:30 came, everyone arrived. Our driver for the minibus to take us there also arrived, went to collect the keys. No, sorry, you can't, all vehicles have been grounded.
What?
Ooh.
And so we then tried to sort that out. It turned out all vehicles had been grounded Tuesday, and no one told our society about this until the morning we were meant to leave. So that was fun, and we were all fucking tired because we'd had similar nights. Uh, we then tried to get in contact with freaking management, but they told us to fuck off because it's the weekend and they were sleeping. Bastards. So at that point, we thought that we were fucked because none of us had cars because we had nowhere to put cars on campus. So we kind of went back to the SU, kind of had a bit of food, had breakfast. We were gonna just go and see Black Panther in the cinema instead, just kind of salvage something on the day. Then coming to the rescue, two people we know called Emma and Richard, who one of whom was going on his own and someone else who was available and they both had cars, decided to offer us lift between the two of them. 4 in each car, we could make it, though one of us had to stay behind, unfortunately. So I was part of the second. We let the first group go first. They were picked up almost immediately, while we in the second group had to wait until 10:30 to be picked up. So that was a lot of waiting around, and then we had to walk half an hour to get out of Cambridge because there was a massive freaking charity marathon going on, so the entire city was on down lockdown, and traffic was a nightmare. It was so we finally got picked up. We got to a petrol station, at which point one of the others, Aaron, believed he left his phone behind. So we turned around to go and pick up his phone, but halfway there, he realized it was just tangled in his damn cloak that he was wearing as part of a costume for LARPcon.
Oh my god!
Because they called the phone to make sure, and they just heard it go off in his cloak. So that was amazing.
A cloak of the plus one cloak of ringtones.
Yes.
I dare
by this point,
any D&D players in the audience, I dare you to make that a magic item and incorporate it into a campaign, and then tell me how it goes in the comments section. I'll be waiting.
Yeah. So now there were 5 of us in this really small, cramped car for like a couple hours in this journey, over 2 hours, and I had nothing to do the entire time because my phone had randomly went from 40% power to 0% power in a second for reasons of bleh. We finally got there. The others had already been there for an hour. The rest of the day from here was pretty fun. We went around the con. Two of our friends got to play with actual real weapons and armor and shit, and they dressed up my friend Luke in full medieval knight armor, while Josh got to whack at him with a real sword just to prove that the armor is real fucking good because he didn't die in the process.
Yeah, European plate armor is really fucking good against bladed weapons. A bladed weapon will not penetrate that.
Yep, the weapon did not penetrate, thankfully, though he did say he had ringing in his ears for a while because it's like being a tin can.
I mean that's why maces and flails and mauls and shit were so popular after plate armor became a thing. Bladed weapons would not work against plate. You needed to crush it in.
So we went around, we bought some stuff for event we're going to middle of Easter. I bought this really nice sword to dual wield with one I already have. I'm currently holding right now. It's got a nice pommel I can bash people with.
Sounds nice.
Demonetized.
A couple of
I don't monetize my videos actually, so it's fine.
It's fine. No one gets hurt too badly. Only if you want to. Only if you mess with the freaking vegan. Don't. They're like a faction of basically Vikings. Don't mess with them because they get drunk a lot. And our society president's one of them, so that's fun. Oh, and my character when we start is also secretly a thief, and I don't want to let them know that because I hate thieves, so I have to be very careful. But yeah, I also bought a couple of braces, gauntlets and whatnot for my arms for protection, a flask just to hold water for the event so I don't die of dehydration, and what's the other? Oh yeah, a scabbard so I can hold my sword to the belt without having to lug it around all the time.
Nice.
So this went on for about 4 hours until gone 4 o'clock, like between 4 and 5, where we finally started gathering to go because the event was winding down. At which point, one of our members, Aaron, got into a sword fight with a cat person. That was interesting. And then we finally got back into the car. Another couple-hour drive, which was even more cramped because we had, loot that we bought. Which I spent a good £149 today on all this stuff.
I don't know what the equivalent of that is in dollars, so I'll take your word for it.
Oh, I can hold on. I can probably tell you.
That would be nice, because
$205.
Okay.
Oh, gee.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
That
so
is a
it wasn't cheap. We finally got back around, almost 7 o'clock. Then we had to walk back to the university. We met the others in a pub. We chatted for a little while. Then I came back limping, ate a burger, and then now we're here. And I'm tired, very tired.
We've noticed. I've had the GIF you posted in general discussion of Twilight looking sleepy, staring at me this entire goddamn time.
It's not creepy.
Anyways.
That is me staring into your soul with my
it's strangely,
sleepy eyes.
No, it's strangely adorable, actually.
Adorable staring into souls exist.
Man.
She is best pony. Of course she's adorable.
You're biased. Anyways.
Yes, I am, and I do not regret it.
All right, so on the topic of events and it reminds me, just gonna throw this out there. I'm actually going to be at Everfree Northwest this year.
All right.
Yeah, I went ahead. Also, like any of you out in the YouTube audience, if any of you are going to be at Everfree Northwest as well, fucking hell, say so. Who knows? Might bump into each other while we're out there. I don't know. All I know for sure is that I already reserved my room and I already bought my entrance badge. All I need to do is make sure that those work when I go, and I also have to make sure I have transportation paid for. And I already know how much it's going to cost. It's going to be about $100 both ways, and I make $400 to $500 each month, so I'll be good for that and merchandise money. The only thing I'm worried
I'm
about...
jealous.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my friends went... Two of my friends have actually been to Everfree Northwest a few years back when we were still in high school, so... I mean, I kind of wish I could go with someone, but I'm going all on my own. This is going to be a completely solo trip.
For those of us who live out of the country, it's not a feasible trip to do at all, especially when you're on university funds.
Yeah. But, I mean, I do kind of wish I could go with someone, but none of the people I know have the money to spare to make such a trip. So this is something I'm doing on my own, but honestly, I'm actually okay with that because I need to get better at managing my money and my time slots better anyway if I ever want to be fully independent and move out of my parents' house, which I still live with them, and I want to fix that at some point. So this will be good practice for managing my stuff on my own, keeping track of my money more effectively, making sure I set myself some limits, and also handling things in an unfamiliar environment on my own. It'll be great practice.
You're 21 now, aren't you?
I am 21, yes.
Yes. I turned 19 just last month.
I swear, I constantly want to think that Tom's older than I am, but he's younger.
Yeah.
It fogs my
2
mind.
years.
It fogs my mind so much. It's like, I am 2 years older than him, and yet for some reason I keep feeling like he's older by some amount. I don't get it.
Maybe it's the accent.
I mean,
ages me.
I mean, yeah, probably. The British accent has been handcrafted over millennia of careful modifications to make you people think you can be trusted, to make us think you people can be trusted.
Okay,
Now
let's calm down here.
Yeah, man, don't need to overreact.
The British accent sounds amazing. So why
It
is
depends on the British accent. If you ever meet a Cockney person or an Essex person, you'll see it's not always amazing.
Well, I mean, just in general, it sounds, even the most vulgar of British accents sound more interesting than the shoddy American voice that I keep spouting. Which makes me wonder, if it sounds so amazing, why are British people always the villains in, Marvel movies or just movies in general so often these days?
Because they're
Because
amazing.
Our voices make us good villains. Also, Also, it's Americans, and the whole independence war. So, like, yeah, let's make British people the villains again.
And on that,
No, I never thought of it like that.
on that historic note, thank you all very much for tuning in to Jibber Jabber. I think that's a good point for us to end. So, thanks for tuning in to Jibber Jabber. I have been Toneshift Ike Skajaramas, your host, as always. Thanks to my guests for tuning in and talking with me. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Keep an open mind and keep open ears. Bye-bye.
Hurrah.
None of that really worked, did it?